beautiful song. Let me invite Neela. Let's all welcome Neela for a beautiful song.
Good morning, all.
Morning, Neela.
I'll be singing a song from Adi Shankaracharya. It will be in Telugu language. And guess what? This is a movie in which Patri sir acted. And I'll start now. Ah, 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 భ్రమాని తెలుసు భ్రమాని తెలుసు బతుకంటే బొమ్మల ఆట అని తెలుసు ఆ కథ అని తెలుసు కథ అని తెలుసు కథలన్నీ కంచికే చేరునని తెలుసు తెలుసు తెర తొలుగుతుందని తెలుసు తెల్లారుతుందని తెలుసు ఈ కట్టె పుట్టుకుమంటదని తెలుసు ఈ మట్టి మట్టిలో కలిసిపోతదని ఇన్ని తెలిసి ఇరకాటంలో పడిపోతాము ఎందుకని మాయ ఆ ఆ ఆ మాయ ఆ ఆ ఆ వేదం తెలుసు తైలమున్నదాకే దీపమను వేదాంతం తెలుసు శాస్త్రం తెలుసు శాశ్వతంగా ఉండేదెవ్వడీడలేడని తెలుసు తెలుసు ఇది నీటి మూటని తెలుసులే గాలి మేడని తెలుసు ఈ బుడగ టప్పని పగిలిపోతదని తెలుసు ఉట్టి మీదున్నదంతా ఉష్కాకి అని అన్నీ తెలిసి అడుసులో పడి దొర్లుతుంటాము దేనికని మాయ ఆ ఆ మాయ ఆ మాయ ఆ ఆ మాయ ఓ ఓ ఓ ఆ తేలిపోయింది తెలిసిపోయింది తేలిపోయింది తెలిసిపోయింది తెలియనిదేదో ఉందని మనసా ఆ ఆ తెలుసని ఎందరు చెబుతున్నది ఉందో లేదో తేలని హంస కళ్ళు రెండు మూసేయాలంట మూడో కంటిని తెరవాలంట మిన్ను మన్ను మిట్ట పళ్ళెం ఒక్కటిగా కనిపించాలంట ఆడేవాడు ఆడించేవాడు ఏకపాత్రలని ఎరగాలంట ఆ ఎరుక వచ్చి రాగానే ఆ ఎరుక వచ్చి రాగానే ఆ ఎరుక వచ్చి రాగానే మాయం అయిపోతుందట మాయా మాయ ఆ ఆ మాయ ఆ మాయ ఆ ఆ ఆ థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్.
Thank you so much, Neela. I'm just going to read out what Shiv Shankar is saying. Amazing, awesome singing. Exactly. I mean, couldn't agree more with you, Shiv Shankar. Great, great song. Thank you for making it very easy for us to get into meditation. Thanks, Neela. All right. So one thing which I was looking at was yesterday, I know Naman conducted a survey. And one of the aspects was what was the most important, or rather one of the obstacles, main obstacles for getting us into breath. And most of you, and agreeably so, I mean, makes sense that the answer turned out to be thoughts. It is one of the primary things which is taking us away from the breath. But again, as I mentioned in one of the earlier days, it's okay. Let's not intend not to have thoughts. It's okay to have thoughts. Any given point in time, right? Whether it is now when we are not doing anything, when we are with ourselves, even when we are conversing with somebody or doing something, we're always getting thoughts, right? Thoughts are always with us. It's always with us. These are patterns, we've been talking about it. These are driving us, right? So during meditation, you're aware of those thoughts. It's okay. The intent should be to come back to the breath and be with the breath. Let's not worry about the thoughts. Important thing is not to energize. When we choose and when we intend to come back to breath, it will slowly come down. It's a natural outcome. I wouldn't call it an obstacle. With this, let's start our meditation for today. As always, with a lot of gratitude for the universe, to each of us, Patriji, everybody, right? First is the posture. Actually, before that, my gratitude to all of you who have turned your videos on. Subtle reference for more folks to turn on their videos. Sit comfortably. Sukhasana. Remove glasses if you are wearing it. You know the procedure. This is day 10. Clasp your hands, cross your leg. Most importantly, close your eyes. Allow your body to relax. Just give it the time. There is no hurry. Not trying to achieve anything. Just take your time. Just give your body the time to relax. Put an intent to the body, but it's now time to relax. Settle down, relax. See if there is any tension anywhere in the body. Are you holding on to anything? Can you feel it on your body? Can you feel any tension? Your shoulders, neck, forehead, feet. Just scan your body. See if there is any tension anywhere. Let it go. Allow your body to relax. With eyes closed, you're going inward. No visualization. Just observe your normal, natural breath as it happens. Be with your in-breath and your out-breath. Watch the sensations. Just be with your breath. We have formed this friendship with our breath. Breath is our true friend. Let's just stick with our best friend. It's okay if thoughts come, just come back to the breath. Let's be the pure observers. Do not go with your thoughts. Just be with the breath. Normal, natural breath. Please be with your normal, natural breath. Let's not go with the thoughts. Be with your normal, natural breath. Continue being with your breath, dear friends. Last 5 minutes. Slowly come back, dear friends. Take your time. Whenever you're ready, clasp your hands. Place your fingers in your eyes, 5 to 10 seconds. Open whenever you're ready. Thank you so much, dear friends. On behalf of the entire team, really, really grateful for this. Thank you. So friends, the last couple days, we have looked at emotions and energy, right? Yesterday, Yash kind of expanded on the various type of emotions, right? Even looked at fear being on the lower end of the frequency spectrum, right? On the lower side. We also know that love, peace, joy are among the higher end. So obviously we don't want to be on the lower end, right? We want to be on the higher end. So this entire transformation, or rather real transformation, is all about getting ourselves or moving from fear to love. I would even say essentially it is trusting life, right? As it comes, trusting instead of being in fear. So I think from at this stage, it's very, very important that we have a very clear understanding of fear. I would say intellectual understanding. I would stress on the intellectual word. First is to get the intellectual understanding, followed by understanding fear itself. So today, friends, we're not going to do a presentation. On day 6, we did an interview with Dr. Yugandhar. We're going to do a similar one, slight variant. We are going to do a panel discussion today. So we have 2 amazing friends and speakers here. So I want to welcome Sharath and Satya. So these are our friends who have started meditation at a very young age. Now they are successful software professionals, generally living a balanced life. So here they have accepted our invitation and have joined us to share their wisdom. Welcome, Satya and Sharath.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Shibu.
Thank you. I actually would request you both, starting with Satya, to please introduce yourself. Do a quick intro of yourself, please.
Yeah, thanks, Shibu. Thanks, everyone. Good morning. My name is Satya. I started my meditation early, as Shibu has introduced, and sometimes good things happens as accidents. So I had to get into a meditation session, and that time, I was in a lot of fear, indecision. Today we're going to talk about that, as in the next steps. But meditation helped me to overcome a lot of those things, uncertainties, indecisions, and all those things. At this moment, right now, I don't want to tell too much about myself, because all that life is a journey. But at this moment, I've rather than saying that I have accomplished a lot in the material world, but I've found myself where how to overcome fears, what is the right thing to look for in the life. And that way I feel like I'm in a better place. And also looking at these young meditators, 134 is a very good number. I see, right? There's so many people coming in. I feel like I'm missing these sessions nowadays. So I feel that this is a pretty simple. Whenever someone asks me to tell about myself, I feel very uncomfortable, right? Because I don't feel like I'm someone who needs that who need to say that kind of introduction. This is not a job interview, but I'm still young meditator, trying to learn a lot of things. Meditation is something that can give immense things, right? I am probably at a place where I've got only 1-2% of the meditation. There's a lot to explore in that and get benefits out of it. Thanks.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, meditator kind of sums it up, right? That generally sums our attitude towards life as well, right? experimenter and all that stuff. So thank you so much, Satya, and welcome. Sharath, over to you.
Hey, thank you, Shibu. Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Sharath. I'm also a software professional, but I just moved into a more business role. And my success entirely, I would say, moved to definitely hard work, but the largest part due to meditation. Regular meditation, like Shibu said, like we started with, we have gone through the journey of, I have gone through the journey of what actually the meditation actually brings in into your life. So that is what I would say, like, the biggest gift I got when I was introduced to meditation more than 20 years before, right? So today I'm gonna definitely see how I can share my experience and share with this team, right? This entire of meditators I would call, right, by this time to actually benefit from, and also it will benefit me to share, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to in the rest of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharath. All right, so let's get started. So as we discussed, this is a panel discussion on fear. So we are trying to explore the fear, right, and kind of build on top of it, build the layers, or rather reveal the layers, right? So let's start with you, Satya. What is fear in your point of view? How do you define it?
Yeah, so fear is everywhere, right? Every time, I see fear is an present demon, right? Or if you call it, it is everywhere. Everything that happens is surrounded around fear, if I may say. But that's not a right thing. To me, in my view, fear is an emotion, right? So for anything that you get scared or fearful of today at this moment, if you talk to your friend, the same level of fearfulness will not be there. So my point is, it's an emotion or a state of mind. It's something that can be changed. And like any other emotions, right? Anger, happiness, right? Compassion. Fear is one such an emotion where it's a negative thing, actually, in my view. Having a fear is a negative thing. It has a tremendous power, right? If you don't recognize and being fearful for a very long time, it has a tremendous power to inflict irrevocable damage, right? What fear can do is something that nothing else can do. All the wars that you are seeing today versus the relationships going away, everything is because of the fear of losing the current state or the supremacy. So fear is something that need to be recognized and need to be controlled at early. So when I try to understand that fear, right? When I started early, I started experiencing fears. Even today, I have certain fears, but not that I'm away from fears when I'm speaking on the fear, but I know how to deal with it, because I know when I looked into my fears, I felt the basic two ingredients or critical factors that were causing fear in me, or maybe in general. I speak to a lot of people, a lot of young people in my team, talk to me. So when I talk to them, I feel there are two critical factors. One is indecision. It's a pretty straightforward word, right? Indecision is inability to make the decision. The second thing is doubt. So doubt is a pretty broader word, but in sense, doubt is, if you have to say whether I can do this or not, whether this is the right thing or not, whether this girl is right for me or not. These kind of doubts are that creeps in. So indecision is inability or the confusion making the decision. And as we stay in indecision for very long, so it starts, in my view, it starts with indecision. If you stay undecided for a very long time, it slowly crystallizes into doubt, saying that, okay, you did not make a decision, you did not act on it. Slowly it starts saying, okay, is it the right thing for me? It starts creeping in, becomes a big moron, like a doubt. Then it finally, these two blend together, the way you're sipping your coffee, you would have blended certain things, right? Coffee with the sugar or something, this fear, indecision, and doubt very well blends and becomes a fear. So in my view, these three things, indecision and doubt and fear, or they are like, variants, like, the coronavirus variants, right? These are three variants of the same thing, but these three things blend together and form a deadly trio or deadly morons. So we need to fight with those things. So and one more thing I wanted to say before I conclude on the fear is, a lot of people we see, like, they are always in a perpetual worrying habit, right? They keep worrying about things. Everything, whatever happens, if they sleep for 1 hour extra, they worry. If they cannot sleep for 1 hour less, they worry. So everything that happens in their life, they attribute and see that to be a cause for a worry. The reason why a person becomes a perpetual worrier is not acting on the fears. Like, if they don't act on fears and they sit on those fears for a very long time, they become a sustained fear, a perpetual fear for a very long time, translates into worry. So worry is one such thing, is the final stage or the advanced stage of the fear, in my view. So indecision, doubt, then fear. And if you feed on that fear, it becomes a worry. And worry is the worst thing that one can have. It's more worse than a cancer. Is like, it paralyzes one's reasoning faculty. Like, you will not be able to think when you're in worrying state. Then destroys your self-confidence and the initiative. So this is my journey when I try to analyze my fears. Like, what am I? So these are 4 points: indecision, doubt, fear, and lot of time in a fear is the 4 things that I always look up for. Like, if I'm worrying, I go back, look into these things and try to eliminate these things.
So let me ask you this: is indecision or being indecisive, is that a general thing or on certain thing? I mean, is it more like a general attribute, or is it for certain things? How did you observe that on yourself?
See, indecision, everything, like, any activity that we are doing. So already something that you're doing, people have already joined this meditation class. So at this moment, there is no new decision has to be taken. But before coming into the meditation, right, someone's being offered out of this 133, a lot of people, like, 50 people would not have joined probably, right? For me, any activity that you're starting new, or any activity that you're planning to stop, you need to make a decision. You need to come to a decision. It's a simple thing saying that I'm not going to join or I'm going to join, right? It's as simple as that. But decision is everywhere. You make decisions every day. Like, how long you're going to sit in your couch in front of TV, to how long you're going to study, how long you have to work. Like, everything is a decision. So mind always makes a binary, like, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. So a lot of people, a decision as such is a shadow of a fear, right? In my view, as I said, fear is omnipresent. Like, decision making is also, like, in every moment you're making a decision.
Thank you, Satya. Again, by the way, this is herbal tea. Anyway, so over to you, Sharath. I want to ask you one thing. So we have defined, or rather Satya has defined fear, right? So I want to understand why it is there. What is the origin of fear, right? Where does it start? What's the basis?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Shibu. This sums it all, right? The fear is defined now. From my experience, I'm going to share, like, where will be the origins of this fear, right? Where is this origin? It's very important to understand. This is what I did when I was in beginning stages of my career, right? The origin of fear, let's discuss it this way, right? You have to take action, right? You have to do something in your life to keep going. So that is the underlying statement. You have to do something, right, to go about your life. Either you think, you do something physically, you travel, you talk to people, whatever, right? Any task you do. So that's what you do to go on in your life. But what happens is, among those things which you do, there are many things you are doing it for the first time. You don't know, right? You don't know what will be the outcome. You don't know how to go about it perfectly, the way you wanted to do it, right? You don't know. It could be a thinking about a topic. It could be a thought about attending a function, anything, right? So what happens is, you don't know about it. And what we do when we don't know, it is very natural that we start assuming what will be the outcome of the action what I'm doing. So we get so attached to the outcome. Because we don't know what we are doing at that point in time, we know little, right? We just start wrong. And when we get attached to the outcome, then you don't know what will be the outcome. Then you start assuming, hey, this outcome needs to be good, otherwise we will be failure, we will be doomed, right? If this outcome is really good, if this is the way it should be, this is the desired outcome, you will be very happy. So you become so dependent on outcome even before you are arriving at the outcome, right? You're so attached to the outcome. If you see literally around that, what I observed is there is no control on the outcome because you don't know in the first, you're doing this thing for the first time, whatever it is, right? And you don't have control over it. There's no control at all, right? And if you see in most of our day-to-day stuff, what we do, there are many things we don't know, but we have to do because of various reasons, right? Let's not talk about it. So that is where the origin of fear starts, that you don't know what will be the outcome. You get attached. You will be assuming that, hey, these will be the outcomes. If you ask me to summarily state here there is an ignorance, which is the biggest cause of fear, right? And let me tell you, what I've observed is ignorance is always there because it is practically impossible that you will be doing everything which you know in your day-to-day life, right? You will be doing something, you're doing it for first time, right? So ignorance is what is always there, right? And you have to deal with it. There is no escape, right? And why? What is the reason why we have this particular problem, right? Why this actually there, right? Because if you look at, there is a purpose for a fear. Fear is the great guide or a coach which will actually make you learn. There is a purpose. The main purpose of the fear is to make you learn. Because if you don't have fear, and it becomes your wishful act whether to learn about certain things or not, right? But with the fear, which is a natural setup you have in your, which I would say in your mind, which will actually drive you towards learning something and get over the fear. A great learning happens when there is a fear. If fear is absent, then what happens is it becomes a wishful act. Now, because there is a fear, which is a natural phenomenon, now we will learn so many things. If you look back until now in your lives, lot of things what we have learned, there's a fear which actually driven you to actually go and learn, master it, and maybe some of us are also employing that in our day-to-day life, day-to-day jobs, right? And we are excelling in it, right? So this is what I would say. The ignorance is there, right? Ignorance, because of which the fear starts, developing into anxiety, and that's what Satya was telling, right? It develops into indecision, right? You don't know about it, and then if there is an indecision, you start actually thinking about, I cannot do this, I will not be able to do this, and then what happens is it slowly goes towards doubt. Oh, I'm not able to do because of this, I am incapable of doing something, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're incapable of doing something, then what happens is you will see danger, right? Something is going to happen. People are going to think about me in a certain way. I will lose an opportunity, right? I will be rejected. I will lose love. All these things, right? All these things will come into things, and it becomes slowly into anxiety and worry. And this worry is the advanced stage where it keeps repeating itself. Keep repeating itself day in, day out, and it will wreak havoc in life. So if you see, the origin of fear is ignorance. You don't know what you're doing and you have to do. There is no escape from fear, let me say, right? Because why there is no escape from fear? What I've observed is you have to do many things new in your life to go about it, right? Otherwise, we cannot learn. We have not come with all the wisdom, all the capabilities and expertise into this world, right? Every day, you start a new job, you don't know anything, right? You're starting. then you don't know what will be the outcome. There's no control on the outcome. So that is the reason why you need to acknowledge it, right? Hey, whatever may be the outcome, I'm going to go about this. And then, but what I have found is like, meditation will help. Right? Meditation is not going to really show you the path, how to go about. To give you an analogy, an example, if you are walking on a road in a dark, you can call it as Amavasya, right? Or somewhere you are not able to see, and it is a long path, several miles. You don't know what you will stumble upon. You can fall, right? And you keep walking towards your destination. What meditation will do is it will raise your awareness. You will start sensing what is around you without your physical faculties like hearing, right? That is one thing which will happen with meditation, right? And then you will at least know a little bit in advance what is going to happen as you go about your actions.
So,
Yeah.
So essentially, we initially upfront defined fear as a negative emotion, right? But with awareness, we are building on top of it. Right? With awareness, it's also an indicator, right? If you know, if you understand, if you're with awareness, it is transforming, right? Now it's becoming an indicator. Great point. Actually, want to further build on it, right? Satya, I want to ask you this. What are the kind of fears which you have faced and what are you facing now? Can you kind of shed some light from your personal experience?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Shibu. So now I'm revealing myself, right? So see, fears are constant, as I mentioned. Even today, I face a lot of fears. But the only thing with the age and the meditation, what I've learned is how to deal with them. So you cannot eliminate fear, you can only deal with it. So you deal to such an extent where it becomes a minimal part of your life. So typically, as I grew up, I'm from a modest background. So the kind of background from where I grew up, or even for the rich background. So I try to generalize, right? I keep thinking about these things, try to generalize. And for the interest of the audience, so I found there are three major categories of fears I faced. And mostly people can relate to that, is fear of poverty. So if I may build on that, right? See, poverty means not having enough financial acumen to deal with your life. So most of the times, one of the worst kind of fear that builds or that creeps into other fears is lack of financial stability in the life. So every time we can relate it to some decision, right? Some people wants to leave the job and pursue their passion, but why don't they do it? Why don't they do it? Because the fear of poverty. What if I leave my stable job, pursue something else? Right? These are the fears that lot of people and it adds on to the today's world, the perception. And I don't blame on today's world, it has been there for ages also, right? Everyone tries to generate the blame the current generation as if it's the worst generation, as if the previous generations were the great people. But I don't agree to that point. Every generation has their own. But typically the grace or the most of the fanfare or is given to the people who have more money. The one person who has got a fat paycheck and a big bank balance is assumed to be a great person, no matter how they have earned the money. So fear of poverty. So that makes us to feel compels us to get into the habit of becoming rich in order to get the right valuation, right, to us, we need to be rich is what we keep thinking. So in my view, that fear of poverty, in order to get into that rich bandwagon, people do a lot of things which are not right. So in my view, in order to overcome that, what I've done is I stick to my basics in the sense, I wanted to make sure that whatever I earn, I don't want to compare with anyone. And I wanted to, do whatever I earn, be happy with whatever you earn on a rightful way. That is one thing. The other fear is fear of criticism. So who likes criticism? Tell me. And even if I've done something wrong, someone scolds me, I will always complain saying that, why did you scold me? You should have told me properly, right? You should have told me politely. So criticism is something that no one likes. So one thing is again a fear of criticism. And the third one is fear of loss of love, right? The loved ones. When I say love, is the loved ones. You always feel like, you have an emotional dependency on your loved ones. And we always fear, what if I lose this person? What if I lose this friend? Or what if I lose this mate? So these are typical fears that I've experienced. And there are certain ways, like, and rightful thinking and the meditation, right? Meditation helps us to remove the clutter. Even like, you're sitting in a cluttered room versus like, the way you have organized your room. I feel like coming into your room. So there is no clutter. It is like a meditated mind, Shibu. Your room looks like a meditated mind versus like everything in order, where it's supposed to be everything in order. So we need to bring that order into your mind in order to deal with the fears. This is fine.
Sounds good, Satya. How do you deal with these fears? I mean, any formula or anything which you can suggest?
Yeah, see, fear antonyms, right? If you cannot, in yoga and meditation, like if you are filled with clutter, you need to remove the clutter in order to keep it clean. So there are simple two things that I feel like, whenever I'm in this kind of confusion, I feel courage, right? Opposite antonym, closest antonym to that is courage. So if you're fearful, if you wanted to come out of that fear, you need to be courageous. Very simple as that. The second thing is, so courage and action are my medicines for the fear. I use this courage, and courage helps to eliminate indecision. So you have to make a decision. You cannot keep things in without making a decision for a very long time. You should have courage to see. Smaller decisions can be made very easily, but like, there are some decisions where it defines your life, right? Or you may put a weight at that moment saying that this is going to define my life for some time. So those kind of decisions, when you're making, you need to have a courage. And when I say courage, why do you need courage? Is like, decisions always may not go right. So you should have ability to make courageous decisions and back your decisions. And next thing is, you have made a decision, but you sit on that decision without acting on it. So you have to go and act, right? Then your doubts will be eliminated. So doubt is something that is, you don't know what is going to happen, is a doubt, as Sharath mentioned, uncertainty. Right? When you do an action, then there are two binaries again. You either be successful, fail. So it eliminates doubt, saying that, like, there is no doubt, right? Even if you fail, there is no doubt. You're clear that you're going to fail. So you have to eliminate the doubt by courage and action. So action cures fear. The cure for action, you have to act something, like isolate your fears in a constructive way and act upon them is one thing. And accept the thing, right? As they are, and face the criticism, right? Don't run away from the criticism. Even if it is one thing that I face, even in my workplace, everywhere, there is some criticism. I'm first person to go and hear that. I don't get worked up with the criticism, but I hear that and act accordingly. Even if I'm to respond, I'll respond. And one perception, I wanted to give is, what is love, right? Nowadays, every relationship, not every people use this word very loosely, but not every relationship you feel like you are dependent on an individual. You cannot call that to be a love relationship, because the relationships which are transactional, and if the transaction breaks, right, then you start feeling that person is not your loved one, or you start hating the person. So true love is unconditional. And last thing is, I wanted to say, is a finding balance. Don't go on any of the side extremes, right? You always feel emotions, negative and positive. See, it is like if you're in a dark room, you cannot see anything clearly. Or if when you're driving, someone is beaming a high beam onto your rear view window, you cannot see what is happening. So in the extreme light, you will not be able to see, visibility goes away. In the extreme darkness also, visibility goes away. So same is the case with the emotions. You don't become too negative or too positive. Being too negative, too positive, you miss out on the actual perception or perspective of the things. So my view is an action, accept things as they are, face the criticism, understand true love. True love is unconditional and calls for sacrifices, right? Don't say, right? So last thing is a finding balance. You need to find a balance in everything. So these are mine.
Awesome. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Satya.
Yeah,
So I know.
to add on to what just said, it's awesome, Satya, right? To add on to it, take positive criticism, right? Make it more positive. So without criticism, it is very difficult to understand, are we doing right or not? So criticism is blessing in disguise. So we need to take positive criticism, right? Don't hate it. Criticism will always help you to grow in your path. And one more thing is like, most people nowadays, young people now, like all of us, we actually fear of not being successful. Right? We always think that failure is very relative. So one way to deal with it is you need to create an atmosphere. You can do it with your meditation by thinking of your awareness, where you should know that you can always fail, right, when you do an action.
Hey, Sharath, looks like your voice is a bit low. People are commenting that voice is a bit low.
Okay. Yeah. Is that clear now?
That's good. Good
Yeah,
now.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So I was talking about taking positive criticism, it is required.
Yep.
And then fear of not being successful, right? So how to deal with it? The way I have done this, like, you need to create an atmosphere where you know that we can fail. That is the surest way of learning which you do. Right? Basically, it is learning, right? Plan is safety. That means have an alternative arrangement, right? Where you can actually circumvent that failure to whatever maximum extent, right? Accept it. Right? The moment we do that.
Earlier you mentioned that fear is an indicator. So now we are getting into how we can use fear, right?
Yes, yes.
How we can use fear. Yep.
That's how we can actually use fear and also plan around it, right? Don't go with most of the cases, we will have more than a single solution. Right? We will have more than one solution. So when you are in meditation, what happens is that gets revealed to you automatically. It is magical. That's what I have seen, right? Because you will be very calm and composed. Your awareness levels will rise. With awareness levels rising, you start seeing some of the things you don't see when you are agitated. Right? That actually gives you more paths to a success, right? So then you can plan better, and then this fear of failure can be circumvented to maximum extent. And you should accept whatever the outcome, right? And that way, it becomes your learning. It gets internalized, and you know next time when such situation comes, how to deal with it. Right? And that's how we circumvent the fear.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, Sharath and Satya. We really expanded on, we defined fear, we kind of expanded on it, right? And now we are talking about how we can use fear. So we started with negative, and now it's all about how fear can be an indicator, something which we can use. So this is amazing. And it comes with awareness, right? It ties back to that same point of awareness. Actually, now I want to bring in Prithvi. What additional points would you like to add?
Thank you for asking me that, Shivu.
Yeah.
So if you see in the evolutionary process, fear is something which is most important and has helped the mankind to evolve. So fear has a purpose. So first of all, we need to identify our fears and work on ourselves till we become free from that fear. So I just want to take up this example of this movie, The Karate Kid. So today, maybe you can watch that movie as a task for the day. So in that movie, if you see that boy, even after getting so much of injury, he will say that when his coach comes and asks him, "Why do you want to fight?" He says, "I fear that opponent. I don't want to carry that fear." So fighting the fear is very important, and that will help in our evolution. To fight the fear, as Satya told, we need courage.
Yep.
For that courage, we need to gather some energy. And that energy, we get it through meditation. So through meditation, we gather that energy to get the courage and face the fear with our courage. The one who will work on themselves are the real warriors. They are the real peaceful, spiritual warriors who really want to evolve and look at the fear with a positive mindset. That's what I would like to say. And that's how I would also like to see the fear.
Amazing, amazing, Prithvi. So in 2 minutes, you talked about fear and you also gave everyone a task to watch Karate Kid, right? I recently watched it. It's one of my favorite movies. Really, really good. So actually, to kind of sum it up, right? It's a journey from fear to trust is how I would put it. Fear to trust. And fear is definitely not a bad thing at all. It is an indicator. It is prompting us to learn, right? So there will be a knowing and we will know what needs to be done. Between this fear and success, I've always seen there is this beautiful state called vulnerability. And that's the courage part which Satya, Sharath, and Prithvi were talking about, right? The courage to be vulnerable. Before, you would have noticed, whatever you have achieved, there was always a moment or a period of time when you were vulnerable. That takes courage to be vulnerable. Whether you're speaking for the first time in front of an audience, it takes courage. There is fear because mind will always tell you, don't do that, right? What if you're not saying the right thing? But you chose to be vulnerable. That takes courage. And you do it because you know it is the right thing to do. Because you know it. It is not telling you that you got it. You know you got it. There is a difference. You know it. So that courage to be vulnerable changes everything. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful concept, topic. And I think our speakers have done an excellent job of kind of explaining it. Now, I know we have gone way beyond the usual time, gone over by 6 minutes, but I think it's a very, very important topic. We had multiple speakers, so I think it's justified for today. With this, I actually want to open it up for Q&A. And actually, one quick thing to mention before we open up for Q&A is many of the questions which you guys are asking, know that we are always addressing it, right? If it is not getting answered in these calls, there is a team which actually looks into all of this and you're getting those answers in Telegram. So first of all, if you're not in Telegram, go and join there, please. So there many of your questions will be answered there. Second, you'll see, I actually want to give a shout out to Sunil, who has been diligently answering your questions, picking up in detail answering. Sunil, if you're on cam, if you're on, shout out. Gratitude from all of us for all the work which you have been doing, the time you take. Amazing, amazing job. With that, let's open it up. Please raise your hand. And hey, there you go, Sunil. Want to say something?
Hey, hi guys. Good morning and good evening. So it was wonderful. I really love the questions, and replying the questions is itself a thought in itself. So that really helped. I hope you are enjoying the questions, and sometimes it becomes a little lengthy. I hope it's needed. Thank you, Shibu.
Certainly, certainly. Thank you so much, Sunil. So with this, please raise your hand or type out your questions, guys.
Don't be scared of asking questions. Don't be fearful.
There you go. Okay, so I think there is a question from Arun. Isn't fear a psychological thing, hesitating to do something that is unknown? Open to any of our speakers.
Yeah, I will take this, Shibu, right? Because,
sure.
See, as I mentioned, very first statement, maybe I'll have to repeat. So fear is an emotion or a state of mind, right? So it's a state of mind. Anything related to mind is psychological. So as you said, it's a psychological thing. But as if other speakers said, like it is a indicator where you need to overcome. You cannot live with the fear. Fear is a good thing to start with, but fear is not something that you need to end with. You need to start. You may start with the fear, but it's a more a psychological thing or a state of mind. As you know how to deal with it, as you have a plan for it, I think the psychology towards the fear will change. The way you look at the fear, then it changes with the action plan and the courage that you demonstrate under this particular situation.
Thank you. Yeah, so Shivakumar has raised his hand. Let me unmute you. Please go ahead, sir.
What was the merits for the fear?
Yeah.
Can you please repeat that? Can you please repeat that question? Just so everyone has heard.
What was the merits for the fear?
Merits. You're talking about the merits of fear. Yeah. So merit is definitely, it's a little higher term, but more than merits. What I would say is like the advantages of having a fear. Right? You have fear when you're doing something which you don't know, and you're always fearful about the outcome it is going to be. Right? So the merit or advantage of a fear is you start overcoming that fear. Right? How you want to overcome that fear? By learning how to actually, by devising some steps or process, or going and talking to the people who already overcame such kind of fear, right? Or going and reading books, or meditating, right? Or thinking very coolly, right? You go about and start learning the process to overcome that fear. In that process, you learn. That is the biggest advantage of fear. That is a merit, right? So without fear, what happens is all it takes to your interest, right? Whether you are interested in learning something, which is again, very subjective. But fear is for sure the biggest advantage is you will learn, and you will learn it in such a way that you will internalize it instantly, right? Because you're overcoming it. You are eliminating a situation which is removing you from the danger you are thinking is going to happen, right? It will naturally internalize you, and that is the greatest learning and knowledge you're going to have for the rest of your life. That is the biggest merit. And then you can deal with it whenever it arises again, right? So that is the biggest advantage you're going to have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sharath. We're going to take one last question. I think it's a very important question asked by Niranjana Verma. Fear turns to superstitions, believing what to do. Essentially, what you're trying to say is, fear, right? When it turns into superstition. Very important question. Let's answer that. Open to any of our speakers.
Can I take it up?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Please.
So it turns into superstitious only if you want to live with that fear. If you want to fight with it, you will gather the courage to find the truth. You will not settle with any belief system. It can be a fear of God, a fear of anything. So you don't settle with the belief system that is already there in the society. You want to know the truth. And for knowing the truth, you need to have that courage. And fear is stopping you there. So superstition is a result of being in the fear, that you want to settle with the fear, but you don't want to fight with the fear. So here we are talking about fighting with the fear. So if you fight with the fear, you will get to know the truth. So this is what I feel. Maybe other speakers can also add on.
Yeah, so Prithvi, great point. But also, I think probably echo back the same thing which Sharath mentioned earlier about the getting attached to the outcomes, right? So if you have already fixated on your mind, I want this outcome, that's when the fear of missing out, the FOMO, right, comes out, fear of missing out. Then okay, so one time this has worked, so let me just keep doing this, right? The superstition, because you're attached to that, then the fear. Anybody else want to add on to this?
This is exactly. So superstition is something you have already determined the result.
Yeah.
Right? You are in fear and you want to elevate it by force. Yep. Right? So superstition, if you go back, because we have internet, right, in general, if you go back and see, the gist of superstition is you already determine the result and you start forcing that upon you. Right? That is all it is. People will use this in statement. You are very superstitious about it, right? You force it on you because you have seen that happening to this point, right? In the past, in the society, right? And that becomes superstition. Even before you want to learn and act, you started believing it. You already determine the result, right? This is how it will be. And you are playing that result. That is superstition, right? Whatever it is. Something, crossing your road, right? You determine the result, right? You don't want to go. And you are playing on it, right? And then it keeps feeding your fear, right? Now, that is what is very dangerous, right? You need to come out of that fear. Once you come out of fear, all the superstitions will actually disappear. Best way to do is like, okay, what is that I have to do? Don't be indecisive, right? You need to take action, right? You need to really challenge, have that courage to do something different which is not harmful, right? To yourself and to others. You need to fail fast, right? You cannot delay your failure to next year or to next life. You have to fail fast. Right? Superstition, what it does is, it will not allow you to fail, right? It will actually force success, which is not correct, right? So you need to fail fast. That is the greatest courage you can have and learn from it. And next time when the same situation arises, now you know what to do. You have learned it and it gets internalized.
Beautiful, beautiful points, Prithvi and Sharath. Really, really good. Then it was.
I wanted to add to this. Superstition is getting to supernatural powers, those kind of things. You start believing, as Sharath mentioned, right? So again, go back to the point. I'm just thinking, when I get into the situation, how do I deal with it? So my point is finding balance, right? Don't go overboard on any of the emotion. Right? Stay in balance where you can always calibrate your response rather than becoming on the one side. Don't be on the extreme left or don't be on the extreme right. We stay in the center. And again, meditation helps you to bring that center. Always finding that center is one thing that helps. You need to find balance. Make sure, even some people say I'm extremely positive. I don't see that to be a great thing. So extremely positive, you tend to ignore some dangers being so positive, right? So my additional point to all the other co-panelists is find the balance, right? Be balanced in your life.
So what a way to end this, right? Balance. I think that's probably the right word and right way to end this. Finding the balance. Let's find the balance. Great session.
One point I wanted to mention, if I may take 2 minutes, is my experience on meditation to the young meditators. I wanted to give a small an analogy that I have developed. Is if it's okay, just 2 minutes, bear with us.
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah. See, imagine a situation. I wanted to put a hypothetical situation. Imagine a situation where someone gets into a pharmacy or a medical store, right? A medical store where you see, in a medical store, on a general basis, you go, there are lots of medicines stacked up. But you imagine there is only, a whole medical store is filled up with only one medicine, right? Do you wonder, right? So one person comes and asks, medicine for a headache. The pharmacist gives the same medicine. And one person comes and asks for indigestion. The pharmacist gives the same medicine. And one person asks for a cancer, right? The pharmacist gives one medicine. So can you imagine a world where there is one medicine for all the ailments? It's a wonderful thing, right? You don't have to, you buy that medicine box, one strip, and whatever problem that you have here, take a pill rather than going to so many doctors. So if I have to relate with the meditation, I feel that that magic pill is nothing other than meditation. So whatever, right from achieving some small materialistic things, getting good marks in your college, getting a good campus recruitment, to the salvation that masters Buddha has achieved, all that can be achieved through that magic pill called meditation. So if you wanted to get into that pharmacy and get that meditation magic pill or magic medicine, that's nothing other than a meditation. So don't leave this meditation. My point is, don't leave the meditation. Like, as you started young, all of 130, I think all of you rank. Don't leave that magic pill. Always carry one strip of that magic pill and keep consuming that magic pill on a day-to-day basis to overcome all the ailments. This is.
Wow, what a wonderful message.
Yeah, thank you, Satya. That was great.
Indeed, right? Yep, the magic pill indeed, which is what we're doing on a daily basis, 10 days, but please stick with us for 21 days. I actually want to end this with the way Shiv Shankar put it, right? Dar ke aage jeet hai. Exactly. I know it's coming from an ad, but it's a living philosophy for many of us, right? That's exactly it. Kind of sums it up. Amazing session. Thank you all. Thank you for, again, my apologies for going a few minutes beyond the time limit, but I think it was worth it. It's a really important topic we covered. I think we did good justice to this. I know we'll keep building on it. When we talk about building, the next step, which is the next day rather, is conscious creation, right? Very logical. So tomorrow we're going to talk about conscious creation. Most importantly, you create your own reality. Profound statement, but it has to like sink in. It has to be like the living reality, right? That you create your own reality. So now Sagar sir is going to talk about that tomorrow. Please continue the meditation. Please be with us throughout the 21 days. I want to thank all our speakers. I want to thank Satya, Sharath, Patri, and Neela, all of them, right? And all of you guys, everybody who is asking amazing questions, participating on a daily basis. This is awesome, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.